Good evening, and welcome to the Sleep Clinic. My name is Professor Birch. So, I understand that you're interested in working up your ability to lucid dream. Is that right? Yes. Well, I would be more than happy to assist you in that goal. I can definitely understand why you're coming here with that in mind. So I gather that you are aware of what lucid dreaming is, but nonetheless I'm gonna go over it again tonight, and that's just to, well, partly set our expectations straight, but also to verbalize it, because the more it is present in our minds, the more likely we are to experience it. So even just talking about it and having it present and thinking about it, even that goes a long way towards actually inducing lucid dreaming when you fall asleep later tonight. So, of course, lucid dreaming is a state of mind, or rather a state of dreaming, where you are aware that you're dreaming. You're conscious that what you're experiencing right now is in fact a dream. Most of the time when we're dreaming, we're just experiencing mildly strange things, and only after waking up we realize that all those strange things and thoughts and experiences were in fact not real, but when we're dreaming they feel very real. But when you're lucid dreaming, you are aware inside of the dream, and some people are even able to control their dreams, like direct their dreams like a movie set of sorts. Yes, and most people who practice lucid dreaming or dream of inducing it, they do strive to reach that goal of actually controlling what they do and what they see and experience in their dreams. But a common first step is just realizing that right now I am dreaming. Most lucid dreams happen in the rapid eye movement stage of the sleep, or REM sleep, where the brain is heightened and hyperactive, but your muscles are mostly paralyzed and your body is relaxed. And that's where we have our most vivid dreams, even when we're not lucid dreaming. So, lucid dreaming is generally safe and can have many positive impacts towards creativity, state of mind. It can even help relieve mental disorders like PTSD or depression. But you should also be aware that there can be side effects, especially if you have irregular sleep cycles or sleep habits, as is. It can blur the lines between reality and fantasy, and it can also worsen states like depression. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to start tonight's session by asking a couple of questions about your sleep in general. We're going to go over some tips and exercises that you can follow and do at home at night and during the day in the next month from now and until our next scheduled appointment in a month. Okay? And when we've gone over the tips, we're going to do a short lucid dream meditation where I lull you to sleep tonight, and then you can go back home tomorrow and practice everything that we've learned tonight. Okay? Okay, so first I want to ask you a couple of questions about possible sleep disorders. You may not realize you have any actual disorders, but if any of the signs or symptoms that I talk about or mention sound relevant to you or that you've experienced, please do let me know, because it's not black and white. It's not that either you suffer from this or you don't. There can be, varying states. Okay. There are generally 5 types of sleep disorders. And the first is dysomnia, which covers both insomnia and hypersomnia. So insomnia, of course, is where you have extreme trouble falling asleep at night and often lay awake hours and hours on end in your bed. And in the reverse end of the spectrum, we have hypersomnia, where some people are excessively tired during the day and fall asleep even when they're not trying to. So does any of that sound familiar? Do you ever have trouble falling asleep at night? Okay. Do you ever feel extremely drowsy for no apparent reason? I mean, if you've been awake all night or at a party or something, you're allowed to feel tired. It's not that. That's not a sign of a disorder at all. That's just your body reacting normally to the conditions you put it through. Okay, good. Okay. There's also something called parasomnia, which is abnormal behavior while sleeping. So that's something like sleepwalking is a typical example, and also night terrors. That's more intense than just regular nightmares. Night terrors is experiences of extreme, often frightening emotions paired with scary dreams at night. Anything like that? You've never sleepwalked? Not that you know of. Okay. Then we have circadian rhythm sleep disorders, and that's when the biological clock is misaligned with the traditional sleep cycles or sleep times. So jet lag would be a common one that most people experience in varying degrees when traveling with a plane from different parts of the world where you set the clock forwards or backwards. You can also experience these circadian rhythm sleep disorders if you ever worked night shift and then had to adapt the next week to a day shift or regular day work. So, do you have any of that outside of the cases that I've just mentioned? Okay, good. Okay. Also, sleep-related breathing disorders. That's something like sleep apnea, where when you're sleeping, suddenly you lose the ability to pull in air into the lungs from the upper airways. So you'll wake up feeling out of breath and gasping for air. Do you ever experience that at night? Okay, that's good. Okay, so we also have sleep-related movement disorders like restless leg syndrome, where you're feeling sort of like a humming or a buzzing or like ants crawling up and down your legs at night and just really restless and can't find calm. Okay. You ever grind your teeth at night? Or have a sore jaw? That can also be a symptom of it. No. Okay. That's excellent. Okay. Okay. Well, that's an excellent sign that your sleep is generally healthy and that you live a healthy life. I mean, without knowing anything about your lifestyle, the state of one's sleep generally can tell you a lot about a person's life in general, because sleep disorders, the causes of them, well, there are medical, like respiratory diseases and illnesses, but also stress and mental health disorders really affect your sleep negatively. So that's very good. Okay. So I just want to know a few things about how you sleep. Okay? So we're just going to go over a few things. First of all, the bed you sleep on. Do you know the make of it and how old it is? Or what kind of mattress? Anything? Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Okay. How about covers, reuse? Anything? Okay. And how many pillows do you sleep on? And what are the thickness or fluffiness or hardness? Okay. And do you generally sleep on your back, on your side, or on your stomach? Okay. So we generally advise people to lay flat on their backs while sleeping, both to achieve optimal straight spine and free movement of the chest for breathing, and also just because it has the least risk of causing body stiffness and disalignment of the spine and neck. Okay. So do you generally keep it pitch dark or semi-dark, or it doesn't matter in your bedroom? How about the temperature? Do you know? You don't need to state it. Okay. Okay, so what time do you go to bed then? Okay, is that every night or does that vary? Where's bed? Okay. And what time do you wake up, usually? Okay. I assume that's not the same in weekends. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so do you sleep through the night generally, or do you wake up sometimes in the middle of the night? Okay. Okay. So that's everything I need to know right now. I mean, there were other details that we could go into, but we don't need to do all that now. Okay. So now I just want to talk a little bit about general sleep hygiene. So, I mean, it sounds like you've got the basics covered. Generally, you want to make sure that your surrounding sleeping environment is optimized for good sleep. So that's a cool, dark room, well ventilated. You want to go to bed and wake up generally at the same time every night and every morning. Even on weekends and weekdays, we advise to keep the same sleep schedule and rhythm. Okay. And of course, we advise you to avoid caffeine, alcohol, and all electronics immediately before sleeping. And caffeine, preferably some hours before your bedtime. You should avoid that. Electronics, let's talk a bit about that. I just said, and you probably know, that you ought to avoid electronics and all kinds of screens. That includes TVs and most e-readers as well before bed. Obviously, for a lot of people that's not possible. Sometimes you fall in the trap of checking the last thing. Everyone does it. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and we're not bashing you over the head with it if you do sometimes do that. But if it does happen, I would just use the precautions of using dark mode on your mobile devices so you're not, have that white background from most apps or websites, staring you in the face. Keep it dark if there's even an option. Yeah. Another option, and even better, is to turn down the brightness and use a grayscale filter. So everything is black and white and gray. Okay? Yes. A lot of phones do have a built-in night mode, but the jury is actually still out on those. I mean, there's been some conflicting studies about whether blue light or yellow light is actually more harmful to your eyes. Yeah. Initially it's right that we thought the blue light was harsher on the eyes, and certainly the yellow light seems more mellow on the eyes, but it's also imitating daylight more. So yeah, more studies need to be done on that subject. So I'd advise dark mode, turn down the brightness, grayscale filter, okay? So you don't get yellow and you don't get blue light. If you do need to use phones at all, of course. And there are all sorts of apps that you can use to restrict your access to certain social media or other apps that you'd be tempted to use. Yeah. Okay. So that's all about screens. Okay. So in general, to keep a good sleep and a good life, you also want to eat varied, eat healthily, avoid overly fatty foods, avoid junk food, and also avoid any big meals right up to 3 hours before bedtime, because a rumbling tummy is better than an overactive tummy and colon system. Okay, that helps the body relax. And exercise, of course. If you have the time and the ability, adding 30 minutes of daily exercise to your morning routine really, really can help your sleep. Yes. Doesn't matter what kind of exercise. It can be a run outside if you have the opportunity to do that. It can be a ride on your bike. It can be stretching, yoga, Pilates, weightlifting. Any kind of physical exercise is going to help you achieve a better sleep. And a better sleep is going to increase the chances of you inducing lucid dreaming using the techniques that we're now going to talk about. Okay, so the next few things I want to go over are things that you can keep in mind for the next 30 days, like we talked about. And the first thing is keeping a dream journal. Okay? Have you ever kept a dream journal? Okay. So the concept is very simple. Most of us, we don't really remember our dreams that well. And one key to inducing lucid dreams is to be aware of our dreams and remember our dreams. So if you keep a dream journal, write down by hand with a pen or a pencil everything you remember about your dreams the moment that you wake up. And it can be as frantic and hectic or rambling as you feel like in that moment. The key is to write it down just as you wake up. Okay? And then you also want to read over it later the same day, and even after it's been a few days. You could make it a habit to write down your dreams as much as you remember from them in the morning, and read over it maybe as a before bedtime routine, or in the afternoon, or whenever you have the time, and then maybe once or twice a week brush up on the past week's dreams and just try to see if, now that you've written them down, that you actually remember anything else about them. is reality checks. Okay? So that's something you want to condition yourself to doing when you're awake several times a day. And that's certain small things you can do in your everyday life just to check, is this a dream or is it reality? Okay? And that's certain things like if you're wearing a watch on your wrist, just check it. I'm not wearing one right now, but you can also at home, if you have a clock, just check it, look up, see what the time is, and be conscious reading the numbers on the clock. Do they look regular? Do they look like they used to? But the main idea about checking the time is to check if it is progressing regularly. So check the time, look away, do something. If you have something that tells the seconds, then you can look back 10 seconds later, something like that, and just check that time is progressing like it normally would. Okay? So another thing you can do is look at a book or really any type of text right here. Read it and be conscious of the way that the letters are formed. Do they look regular or are there some things out of place? So, a funny thing to think about is if you've ever seen AI art, you know that it can sometimes jumble, especially letters and text, so that if you just glance at it, it actually looks like legible text. But if you just stop and stare for a moment, you realize this doesn't make sense at all. And it's the same thing in dreams. Often our minds are very good at filling out holes and seeing meaning where there is none. But if you stop and focus on something, then the mind is forced to see, is there a meaning behind this or is there not? And in dreams, I mean, our imaginations are good, but even if you have a very vivid imagination, it won't be able to fill in that many details. Another thing you can do is just to take your index finger, your hand, push it inside of your palm, try to see if the skin changes color, if you can see the blood. You can do that on the other hand as well. And also just sense, how does it feel? How does it feel? Can you feel that your hand is solid? That your finger is solid? Okay? Anything like that will help you, and that's small things that we usually don't think about in our everyday life, but if you make it a habit, just a few times a day, check the clock, touch your hand, read a letter or a series of letters very consciously, and say to yourself, right now I'm awake, I'm not dreaming, this is reality. Because then, sooner or later, you're going to do the same thing in a dream, and when something unexpected happens, when you see the clock go backwards or not move at all or move several hours in the blink of an eye, if the text is jumbled and meaningless, and if your finger goes right through your hand like this, then that's a sign that you're dreaming, and that might clue you in and induce lucid dreaming, make you aware. Sometimes you'll just wake up on the spot, but even that small experience will help you the next time you're trying to induce a lucid dream. Okay? Now, the next technique is something that you can try before bed, or in bed actually, and that's mnemonic induction of lucid dreaming. That's a technique where where you try to remember as vividly as you possibly can the last dream that you had, or any dream that you remember very detailed and very carefully. Try to recall everything about that dream and then say to yourself, the next time or when I fall asleep, I'm going to enter that dream, and when I dream, I'm going to remember that I'm dreaming. Just repeat that over and over and over and over again. Okay? Yes. Becomes sort of like a mantra to fall asleep to, and it can be hard to repeat it and keep focus. But even just trying, when trying, you will work up your ability to do this. It's like meditating. At first, it feels strange and very difficult to keep your thoughts sorted and straight, but in time, it gets easier, okay? And lucid dreaming is also going to become easier with time. Yeah. Now, the last technique that I want to talk about tonight before we go to bed is the wake back to bed technique, and that's a little bit more involved, and I actually don't recommend you try this the first week or 2 weeks. Maybe hold off on it, but it's something that a lot of people find useful. And that involves you setting your alarm clock to 5 or 6 hours after the point where you go to bed. When the alarm rings, you get up and you do something that stimulates your brain, your active brain, like reading, writing for 30 minutes approximately. Absolutely no phones, no screens, anything like that. Don't just go watch a movie or check social media. That stuff does not engage your brain as much as you think. And also, don't eat anything and don't drink anything other than maybe a glass of water, okay? You can even meditate if you're the meditating type, something that keeps your brain active. That's the goal. When you've done that for a bit, go back to sleep, and hopefully you'll fall asleep pretty quickly and re-enter the REM stage of sleep while your brain is still turning and is still active. Okay? So this is a way to sort of trick your mind and your brain into becoming active during REM sleep, and thus making it more likely that you're gonna lucid dream in that stage of the sleep cycle. Okay, so I know that was a lot, and you don't have to remember everything. I'm gonna give you a pamphlet to go home and read over, and that has everything that we've talked about today. And so that's gonna be ready in the package when you wake up tomorrow. But for tonight, I think it is sleep time now, right? Yes. Okay, so I will try to help you fall asleep as best I can. Okay, so lie down on the bed. That's good. And I'm just gonna stand here by your side and try to, that's right, lay on your back. Relax your arms and your legs, just keep them by your side, like so exactly. And feel how your spine is straight and that your chest has plenty of room to expand with every breath you take. That's good. And you can close your eyes. Okay. Are you comfortable in that position? That's good. That's good. Okay. Now try to take a few deep breaths. Just I'm going to try to count to 5 going in and 5 going out. Okay, so breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's good. Now on your own time. Just slowly and relaxed. Breathe in, breathe out. And now I want you to try to remember the last dream that you had. Recall a dream that you remember having recently. Do you have anything in mind? And if you don't, if you can't recall a dream right now, that's perfectly fine. Just close your eyes and picture yourself standing alone in a grassy meadow, a forest, or a beach. A serene outside nature location. And just explore your surroundings. Sink in to this place and say to yourself that this is the place or the dream that you are going to enter when you fall asleep and when you dream. Okay? And when you dream, you will remember that you are dreaming. Okay? Repeat after me, just in your mind. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I'm dreaming. Now take a few deep breaths in and out, just in your own time. In and out, just softly and in your own time. And feel how you're drifting closer and closer toward that dream, toward sleep. Now repeat in your mind, when I dream tonight, I will remember that I'm dreaming. And breathe in and out, in and out, and just feel how your entire body is relaxing and sinking deeper and deeper into the mattress, becoming even more relaxed, more automatic, and deeper and deeper. And repeat after me. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I'm dreaming. Turn down the lights now. You're just gonna lie there with your eyes closed and breathe in and out. Okay. In and out. In and out. In and out. And repeat after me in your mind. When I sleep tonight, when I dream tonight, I will remember that I'm dreaming. And breathe in closer and closer to sleep and dream. Closer and closer to sleep and dream. Repeat after me in your mind. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I am dreaming. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I am dreaming. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I am dreaming. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I am dreaming. And just breathe in and out. And I'm going to leave you to breathe and repeat the mantra now. When I dream, I will remember that I am dreaming. Lie there and breathe and repeat. When I dream tonight, I will remember that I am dreaming. And you'll drift off to sleep. And you'll drift